Is the guest there? Yeah! I can't believe it!
Nah.
I can't believe it! I can't believe it!
How you doing? Come here, what you doing?
I can't believe
right?
it!
How you doing?
Hello,
It's good to see you.
Oh my god!
Oh man, blessings.
How are you? I'm
Blessings,
Chuckie.
beloved. How are
Nice
you,
to meet
Chuckie?
you. Yeah, I'm
Pleasure to
good.
meet
Good.
you,
Nice to
absolutely.
meet you.
It's,
Oh, you
Thank
look
you,
well.
oh, I'll take
You
it.
look very well.
Thank
How are you?
thank
All right?
I'm blessed and
Take
allowed.
your
I
fan.
can remove this jacket here.
Yeah, man.
Flow, you know.
Can't
That's
believe
mad.
it.
Thank you so much. Just got a couple of things in it. Where am I?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
We were just having we were just closing up this conversation. We were just talking about how quickly life is changing, and like part of that being technology as well. And like I was saying to him that I was speaking to the taxi driver yesterday, and he was saying that he potentially is going to lose his job at Amazon because of AI. Yeah, and then we was then also talking about, because I'm saying to him, have you noticed that the roads, a lot of the roads are slowing down to 20 miles per hour or whatever. In LA right now, they've got the self-driving cars, Ubers or whatever else. Yeah. So I believe that one of the reasons why those roads are as slow as they are is because if you put the self-driving cars there, if there are accidents at 20 miles an hour, it's bad, but it's not crazy. Yeah. So it's a start, but then the ripple effect, people are losing their jobs. No one has jobs. And then, so what does it look like? If there was a period of time in history where I wasn't there, but let's say 1905 to 1935, there would have been some changes, some cultural changes, a few things here, there, or whatever. But if you look at how things are today to how things were 30 years ago, there's like crazy changes. So I can't even fathom what the next 5 or 10 years looks like, because life and the current climate that we're in seems to be moving so quickly. Do you get what I'm saying?
You know, to a degree.
Okay.
In my age, I'm born 79, right? So the year I come in, Alien, Terminator. Yeah, these are the films I'm watching. The cyborgs are gonna attack you. They're gonna look like humans. Everyone's gonna try and move out of Earth. In my primary school classes, they were talking about climate change. That terminology's changed now. You know, before that, my grandmother was talking about Revelation. So really and truly, nothing's really changed as far as I can see. The only changes that happened are the changes that happen every cycle.
Right.
There's always a shift in technology. There's a shift in migration. There's a shift in political conversation. There's a shift in elite agendas. There's a shift that ripples down that we see. So there's that aspect. For me, I think it's almost all apples and oranges outside of responsibility, because all of these conversations are so fun when they're about someone else. The government's doing it, the such and such is doing it, and it just makes us all ever so more comfortable removing ourselves from what we're supposed to be doing. It's like, you know, Big Brother's coming, they're gonna watch us, they're gonna watch us, they're gonna watch us. Watch what? I don't want to be watched, particularly, but watch what? What are you worried about? Who's really worried about being watched in that kind of way, and why? You know? And then if you're a part of the people who want change, can you be afraid of change? I'm at the point in my life now where I'm like, bring on the change. I want the change, though, that changes the ultimate change that I want change, which is the agenda against my people. All the rest of it is apples and oranges for me, really. The cars, the 20 mile per hour. Is it going to be the electric cars, or is it just that they're getting more money for people because we've all got to change from driving at 30 to 20, you know? Is it better for the youth? Is it good that on the school roads it's 20? Probably is. Is our infrastructure old? Does it need updating? You know, but then you're getting into electric cars, and who's buying oil and who's buying gas and what land is it on? And it all brings you back to Deuteronomy 28, really, if you think about it. Slave trade, what's happened, who's been moved, who's been taken where are people supposed to be, what are people supposed to be doing. So yeah, it kind of, people been losing jobs, people been gaining new jobs. But fads happen, and then we get interested in something else, and then we get interested in something else. So these all seem to be a continuation of things. I mean, we still don't know who killed Tupac. let alone anything else. You know, I could have gone for someone who's been more impactful to our people, but you know, it just kind of, after a while, I know for me, 9/11 made me want to stop being a professional complainer. You know, 9/11, I was deep in conspiracy theory. I was a bit of a professor at the time. I could tell you everything about everything that I'm not in the rooms of. Do you know what I mean?
What led you there though? Do you remember?
Oh, being a child of the enslaved people. That's how you get there. You know, you're trying to find yourself, trying to find out what's going on, trying to understand why my brother's getting chased down the road by the police in the 80s, trying to understand what's going on, what you've been born into. But the only problem with conspiracy, it's got no answers in it. It's just got suggestions. That's it. So you just get lost in a sea of suggestions, and then it gives you a superficial feeling of safety because you're complaining with people who agree with you. But it's not making any difference.
That's crazy. You're complaining with people that agree with you.
You know? And then sometimes you start to look and something like watching marches, and you're like, well, this is strange because this is supposed to be for me, but I'm looking at some of the people in the marches, and I know I've got memories of them chasing us down the road, you know?
Right.
So are we on the same side? Do we want the same thing? Is the enemy my enemy, my friend, or are they just all enemies? Are we actually up against everybody?
So how do you deal with that part? If that's how if you look, you see people are looking for some type of change, but you take a step back and you look at the people that are saying that they want this type of change, and in there you're seeing issues within that. How do you maneuver that aspect of it? That's
what you just said. How does anybody? I would say there's no solace without the Most High now. That's what I know. That's my truth. My truth is so my truth now. I don't even sell it. I used to try. I figure something out. I'd be like, listen, my truth is so my truth now. I if you ask, I'll talk, because there's so much that I've grown through and studied and seen. But I think that we're a bit infatuated with martyrdom. I think we're a bit infatuated we've romanticized the idea of fighting and battling. It makes us feel like we're doing something. It makes us feel like we're not unemployed. You know, it stops us from feeling like there's something else to do because we think we're doing something, because most of us have made idols of revolutionaries, you know? And when you make idols of revolutionaries, you start to wear them on your t-shirts and think that you're doing stuff, and then you talk about another revolution like, that's not my favorite revolutionary. My favorite revolutionary is so-and-so. And you know, and you've never been in that position. It's never been that serious for you, and you're not seeing that you're standing on the back of giants because you think that everything you have is normal, as it should be. You don't recognize that you're walking the prayers that your ancestors were praying. You know, you can feel disconnected from that if you assimilate over and over and over and over, and if your culture becomes self-harming. You know, it's all these type of things. But you have to, I think in humility, you have to know what you're seeking in order to truly seek salvation in that type of way. And if you're seeking something financial, something of this place, something here, something that is just about these, the most you're going to get is law. And that's to, you know, law is about bending the truth. It's not about the truth, you know? So it's all a bit funny. But until you come back down to self, until all of this makes you check yourself, rather than all of this makes you think that trying to check somebody else is what you need to do to change things.
Do you think that people, like, in this current climate, that, especially like where we're from, that people more like convenient war? Meaning that, like, in regards to have some element of change, might mean that there's certain sacrifices that have to be made real strongly today that is going to really, really hurt you, but it's for the benefit of the future. Yeah, whereas the convenient war is more, let me just have a bit of a say in something to try and see if we can change something today. But really, when it comes down to doing the actual thing that it really takes, that becomes a whole different scenario and situation.
Yeah, first of all, I don't know anything. I'm just telling you what I think, right?
Yeah,
So
of course. Yeah, 100%.
we'll
100%. Yeah, I know.
We'll continue in that vein, yeah. But I love the conversation.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it is easier. I say to the poets I mentor, I say, because we converse in solutions and problems and things like that. Quite often our poems are way ahead of us, but we got to live up to these things that have come through our pens, right? So I try to encourage us to not confuse ourselves with our message, and if anything, to live up to it, so that at least if you're close enough to it, do you know what I mean? If some of us are far too far away, we're getting infamy for what we're saying, but we're not living it, right? I think my grandmother said to me when I was 19 and I went home to see her, and I was telling her that she don't know how the world is and this is how it is now, and and she said to me, she said, your problem, you love the struggle too much, right? This is a trip I took when I was 19. I collected a lot of sayings that I have used over the time since then. And what I realized is we've romanticized it. We've romanticized a lot. We've romanticized what our people truly went through. And the fact that it's a complete and utter miracle and proof of God alone and the grace that we're here. It wasn't small scale genocide or small as people would put it in now. We talk about one of the worst human atrocities in human history. So until there's a great scripture, until you recognize the sins of yourself and your father, you realize that all you have is me. I just paraphrased it terribly, but until you realize all you have is me. We're getting into these conversations and what is it and what isn't it, and really the greatest battle that we have is overthrowing our own government within ourselves. Like, half of us have got problems with sugar, but we're talking about overthrowing external forces, and you can't stop yourself from drinking Coke. You actually can't stop yourself from listening to a tune that you like and your brethren's like, even though you know on your deeper side, or the deeper conversation, we get into the deeper thing, really and truly, if we were bout that for our people, we'd actually be up against gangster rap. Imagine that. You wouldn't have NWA t-shirts like that, because you'd be like, man, I love you guys, but ultimately, overall, it's probably going to raise our prison population. We don't need that. It's these I did work in a prison one time. I walked around and I felt like I could guess everyone's favorite rapper. I didn't even think I was necessarily in a building that was just full of criminally minded people. I felt like I was in a building that was full of a lot of fans. A lot of fans of the music that has taken them from their middle class world to this personal situation. And I could get into that with who else is a part of that agenda, but there's so many of my own people playing in that play that it gets so confusing that where do you really start? Because we do things like we argue on behalf of black pedophiles. Yeah, but what did they do with it becomes confusing. You know what I mean? Where do we cut it off? Where are our standards? So because our culture has diminished so much, is one of the things we haven't recognized. Our culture has diminished so much over the past 20, 30 years in particular. It's hard to even see the standard that we're supposed to be holding, let alone talk about the problems of the world. Do you know what I mean? It's like looking out of the window and your yard's a mess.
Yeah.
Dance,
and or as I say to the poets, like you don't get any points, you don't get any grades for answering someone else's test. And I think far too often we're looking at someone else's paper going, I know that answer, oh that's such and such, and that's such, but we're not actually dealing with our own test. And sometimes it gets real individual. It's the thing that makes you leave the party before everybody. I remember leaving a Brockwell Park all day, right? I'd gone to this all day, and I was the only person with a curfew, right? None of my bridges had curfew.
That used to feel like me sometimes.
That's me
I'm
as
not
well.
gonna
I
lie.
had a curfew,
Right?
man.
Oh, mate.
So I was trying to get to this all day on time. I'm going to all my veterans' houses, like, all right, can we go? I'm also pretty much the most popular person in the crew as well, so I should really be a little bit calmer about all of this, but I want to go. So we collect up everybody and we get to the all day and we land, and I know I've got to go in like half an hour. If I don't move in half an hour, I'm not hitting the curfew. Right now I'm going to get bossy. I'm going to stay for another 45 minutes. I'm definitely late. But
You might as well just stretch it then.
Traffic.
Yeah.
You know, I'll walk in and be, you'll never understand. The bus driver left.
Yeah,
the bus. Right? So
yeah.
I'll go for it, right?
Yeah.
All the time holding my cool, because of course I haven't told anyone that I've got a curfew, which ultimately is a problem, but ultimately means my mother loves me, right? So
100.
I'm dealing with all of this, and I left. I told everyone it was rubbish. My brother has a sound. This is boring anyway. I've already done all this, and I leave. Because I've got other things to do, and I cried on the bus. I was leaning on the window. It's like a R&B video, you know. And
I'm missing you.
right. But those moments were the beginning of the separations that I needed. There were separations I needed when I went to the Brit school. My brethren were still at school, and we were doing, 8 weeks work, 4 weeks off, 2 weeks off, and it separated. You just had to have all your brethren at your school because you're not on the same as everybody else, and it's separated again. And then I wanted to. I wasn't a consumer; I was a creator, so it separates again.
You're never really in the group. You're always
it separates
to the left
again,
a bit,
right? And
very replaceable.
But this is how I kind of come in. I know my birth story. I know my mum's birth story. I know my grandmother's birth story before any Marvel. Do you understand what I'm saying? Those are the stories that I know. I was told that I come from people, and grandma used to say, and everyone's not the same. And I used to think, oh, grandma, come on, man. You've been a little harsh. And then you go out and you go into the world. My best friend as a teenager, our friendship was bonded off of everybody else being nasty. Everything was too nasty. The teacher was nasty. She don't know what she's doing. You don't clean your chicken. You don't take off your shoes. You wear your outdoor clothes on your bed.
Hey.
And
you saying that, I'm going to play one clip quickly. This is, when I saw this, that's when I knew you was a G from day. I was like, no.
Watching you as if to say, you're here to do badness and all that. We're not here to do badness. We're here to enjoy ourselves, and that's how it's gonna go. And the only way we can feel freer, I think, is if the police just calm down and just enjoy themselves as well, man. They could boogie in the jungle and
This is you as a chat. This is when I saw that. Like,
that's
that
the
was,
era I'm talking about. Actually.
But that's mad. See that clip there is just like, it's iconic amongst the community. When people found out it was you, that's what I want everyone to know, that clip. So when you're telling your story about how you was operating as a youngster, they need to know who you were. Like,
I'm happy for the younger version of myself that she has a viral clip, because she would have broke up the internet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100.
She would have been about that life. But so it's nice that she got a viral moment. I like that a lot. So yeah, these and by the way, that was the first time I've ever been to Carnival. So
serious?
I was talking like I go all the time, like I said.
Oh yeah.
I got careful, and I hadn't been to Jamaica Carnival either. My point was, I know who I was representing.
Yeah, 100%.
For
Yeah,
my people,
100%.
I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. And there's power in that.
So this is what I'm saying. When you look, so what? So if Malcolm X is here right now, is he a rapper, or is he who he is?
He is who he is.
Are we sure?
Wait, which one? After prison or before prison?
Wait, are you talking?
Because the prison journey is the prison journey. But what does he go prison and come out that way,
He's
or
a
does he
rapper.
go
He's
prison?
about 100% rapper.
I get what you're saying.
I understand. He's 100% a rapper.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as you draw it back and you keep on drawing it back, we could get to different characters. Like, who have you got time for that you truly would turn up for a Marcus Garvey right now? Nobody comes close. By the way, to Marcus Garvey, nobody. You could call your Jay-Z's, your anybody, your nowadays billionaires. Nobody has done a movement like that. Nobody, right? Who's got ears for that right now? You tell me which these young boys on the road right now are stopping to listen to Mr. Garvey.
Yes.
Or even are aware of him right now, or even know that Marcus Garvey was who Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were looking up to. Who knows that? Who's aware?
Do you know what that? Sorry.
There's kind of an entry point now, but it's kind of like what you were saying. The entry points for most black leaders today, when I talk to my younger cousins, is the negative thing they done, and then they find out everything else. So with Marcus Garvey now, correct me if I'm wrong, Chuckie and EA, but it's the videos of him going around and he'll talk about how he cheated on his missus.
No, that's Martin Luther King.
Marcus
Garvey doesn't have a thing. This is what I'm trying to say about Marcus. Marcus Garvey, and this is what I'm saying, he's not long ago enough for us not to know. Mm-hmm. He should have been lauded like a Gandhi or anybody in terms of, and not just hasn't. I was just at my cousin's company, March Muses. They just do a dinner the other day at Royal Albert Hall. We're at Royal Albert Hall. When I go to these type of places, we performed at Carnegie Hall once doing a Nina Simone tribute. Marcus Garvey, all these rooms. Marcus Garvey spoken in all these rooms that you'll go to. No one ain't played that. You can't get into that. He's spoken in all these rooms, and in this space of time, somehow, we're not telling our youths about him.
Right, and you know what though? That's
true though.
This opens up a conversation that we had on the pod time ago, and I think somewhere in there it's connected. Yeah, I'm gonna try and make some sense of it. Yeah, but it came about. We lightly just randomly talked about traditions. It was like how many of us like carry on some traditions that we know of that our grandparents have done or whatever. So for example, you know, a light one for me is reggae music on a Sunday. Like in my house, reggae music on a Sunday, food getting cooked up. Like how many people know how to cook their food, all of that type of stuff, yeah. And then it went on into like, what generation are you in this country? So for me, like if my parents are born in Jamaica or whatever else and come here, there's certain things that they will naturally either speak about or be around that I will just see and be around. But again, when I go out into my community, it looks quite different. But though, we're kind of into different things that in some way intertwine. So for example, jungle was a thing.
Massive.
One of the reasons why I like jungle, and one of the reasons why my dad liked jungle, is because it in somewhere it had
roots,
some, do you understand what I'm saying?
Roots, yeah. It's the sound system you make them, yeah.
100%. But then there was garage, which was more housey. Yes, exactly. And then you had like some of our guys in there, and it just went off into other things, yeah. And then over time, the generations changed. So now, if you're of a certain age and you have kids in your household, maybe you might have some garage playing, you might have some jungle, you might have some reggae, you might have all of that. But then as time goes on, whatever this is now, if you are, let's say, 16 years old, 17 years old, yeah, and I'm maybe just saying this ignorantly and just surface based, but let's just say, for example, your thing that you grew up in and around, one of them might have been drill, for example. You go on to have kids. More time, if that's the thing that you're playing as a throwback, that's what you're gonna. Your kids are. But then it's the same. It's the same with the information, isn't it? It's like when you hear about, you know, people that were doing certain things that were for the betterment of our people, and then as generations go on, like people have kids, and then those kids become adults, then they have kids, and it's like, and then also you're in a different country. So in that country, you're influenced by originally the things that come from here, but then you make them something that is like over there, but it's a British version. Then that keeps going off into another thing. Then all it gets.
That's everyone. That's the Irish. That's the Italian. It's not an our thing. Migration is not a our people thing. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of culturally, it's constantly developing. Whether you stay in one place and people come to where you are, or whether you don't stay in one place and you move. I mean, as Windrushers, we have a very particular story. As Windrushers, we came before Jamaican independence, which means that we were British citizens when we came. So there's no migration. We were asked to come. We came back to the mother country in that sense, as with Jamaican heritage, knowing that even the question of how we got there, there's a question mark on. So our story is very different as the formerly enslaved people because of what injustice has been done onto us and what we're moving forward out of. Who stays where they were enslaved? You don't have to. If you don't have to, then you go. But don't tell me when I go that I don't have any nationality, because we're dealing with a conversation that's far, far, far too deep for that. It's far too deep for that. Again, Deuteronomy 28, you have to get back to it to see where all these things completely hold a parallel. So culture and things being passed down, that's calm. And reggae on a Sunday isn't even so much just what I'm talking about, more so than maybe Sunday dinner is even bigger than reggae on the Sunday.
Yeah. I was just using that as a light example.
It's a great example, because if we talk about music, say for instance, where by the time you get to drill, the conversation isn't so much, is this going to become some big person's old school? Does drill become some big person's old school? Like right now, I'm having to, is my bashment old school? You know what I mean? Or is it past its sell-by date and it really was for what it was for? Or am I now going to sit down with my grandnephew and be like, come here, grandnephew, cock up your body, all right? Like, do I have to? Like, do I have to? Is that something I have to pass down? Now, I'm passing down Spear, I'm passing down Bob, I'm passing down Holt, I'm passing down a lot of things, and there are errors that passed. Unfortunately, because as a nation, we have so little to hold on to if we don't identify ourselves as children and people of God. If we don't do that, then we've got nothing to identify with, because where we're from, where you're moving from, who are you, what's your passport, who was the slave, who wasn't the slave, what's your name, is it yours? And then you got to go off of the people who've been lying to you anyway, telling you where you're from. I don't even trust the story. How can I trust the person who's lying to me to tell me my story? So now I have to find out my story, but to do that, I've got to be disciplined. And that level of discipline may remove you from the idea of the romanticized battle. And it might bring you into the awareness that there's no way on earth. Corruption didn't start last week. It didn't start in 1600s. It didn't start in the 1100s. Corruption started on like page 2. You understand? From creation on it starts early. It is very, very, very difficult to think that you could possibly be living in this world and not have been corrupted yourself.
It's impossible, isn't it? It's impossible.
So surely the work is, if I know that,
it's to fight through that corruption within yourself, and then
and then from that point on, you can start to maneuver. I think that's the metaphor of the Matrix. From that point on, you can maneuver. But if you just live in the corruption and you don't go on, like, you may possibly have to deal with yourself before even getting into anything else, then we're confused. So if I sit here now and I go, I would never bleach my skin. There's certain things I don't do, right? I'm quite, they're my things. So if I now sit and find someone who does all the things that I don't do, now I can just sit here and feel like, look, I got something in a mantra the other day in a prayer space, and it was like, it's not enough to be more righteous than the unrighteous. It's not enough. It's not enough, to just do better than someone else that you deem isn't doing as good as you, because that leads into the entitlement, that leads into the mad, the delusionary behaviors. It makes you think. It's like when you hear a conversation of people who talk about people after their time. I've heard people talk about, you were talking about Martin Luther King because he had affairs, it's right? Crazy. I'm like, I know people who had affairs who weren't, under the threat of death every day. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm happy the man got a hug every now and then. I hope that Coretta's got king. No, I'm being serious. If I'm all right with rock stars and them getting their rocks off, I hope that there was somebody in every state and every city that they went to that had a plate of food for them, wash their foot and make sure that they're okay. Because I'm this far away from it, I can see that and I understand the pressures. My issue with people is not going to be whether or not they can handle those type of pressures. I'm just saying, for us to be sitting, so now you're going to take a man like that, you haven't necessarily done anything anywhere near, and I'm not even calling him a saint. I don't believe in martyrdom. I think we're all flawed humans. So I expect that. But you're going to talk about this person and you ain't done nothing.
You ain't taken no journey yourself. Dance a yard. You know I've been saying dance a yard.
You haven't done anything. And when I say haven't done anything, I mean you haven't even stopped yourself from bad diet.
Flo, how difficult is it today though? Because obviously when we were growing up, there was a lot less information. And like, so I remember growing up and my dad taking me to like, I think Spitalfields Market and then Hackney Market, buying all of these books on black people and then dropping it at home and saying, you got to read one a day. So, but there wasn't loads for me to do. So outside of playing PlayStation and checking my brethren up and down the street, I could afford to read one of these books a day. Whereas today, with the amount of information that is there for people, I won't even just like relate it down to young people, just people in general, and the amount of value that people put in spreading information. So now there is so much value in talking and opinions that there's more shared. How does a young person today get to the point where they have to realize, I'm not even a young person, you know, because like I said, I think we're all guilty of it. How does anyone get to the point today where they get through all the information, all the nonsense to go, wait a minute, what am I doing?
It's a really good question. Boy, this amount of information for me, you know, I remember I was saying the other day, my Uncle Kurt and Auntie Lorna, they used to have the full encyclopedia set. That was big things, you know, the adult and the junior one on the big shrank in the front room. That was like, whoa, database, you know.
Big drip.
You get a little bit bored and Auntie would be like, have you read the encyclopedia? You know what I mean?
My nan used it was the times table for me.
Which
is it?
And all in your benefit. I
say
say all of that to say, though, in this generation it's a different amount of information and all of that. I can't apply them against each other.
Okay.
You know, I grew up in a different generation from my mum. As far as she's concerned, I'm real tech savvy because I used to be the computer monitor in my primary school, which meant the big old computer, I used to wheel it to the class. I'm not computer savvy, you know, but as far as my mum's concerned, I am. Based on her generationally, I played Pac-Man. Do you know what I mean? So I knew how to work the VHS, you know? So as far as she's concerned, I'm technically savvy. My nephew could type Spider-Man before he could write because he watched the game and everything and got the logo down. And I remember sitting there thinking, this guy can't write though, but he knows how to search for Spider-Man. This is a change. After COVID, I bought my I have a poetry company that does education and teaching and stuff, and we went in to assist the young people as they were coming out from having not socialized so long, right? We use poetry as a tool and ultimately honest conversation because so many people are shrouded in lies. You're in school, you've got to learn lies to get good grades. That turns you crazy, you know? Half of the people who think they have learning disabilities are just spiritually rejecting, I feel, lies. You know, things that, you got kids now who've got Google and a teacher.
And AI.
And
ChatGPT.
What? They've got. I was thinking, I don't know how a teacher stands up there now. You know, I'm teaching students who can't write because they type. Yeah. But they've got to write their exams. So
sorry to interrupt you, but that was nearly me. You know that because I would be typing so much. Yeah, I remember one time. I can't remember. I needed to write something, and I only knew how to write in capitals.
Shouting, which I like to do. Which I like to do. It's calm. Get your point across. At one point, I was like, every letter's important. You know what I mean? So, for sure, I feel you. And a little graph as well. But the reality is, these things are going on. So I'm looking at the young people, and I've got a student who's excellent. He's brilliant in what we're doing. Yeah, we don't teach curricular stuff. We teach language, communication, voice. Truth, yeah.
What age did you start from?
We deal with junior all the way up, but we really focus on secondary.
Okay.
You know, we really focus on secondary, but we do go from junior school all the way up. So we were in with year 7s, year 8s, year 9s, year 10s. You know, students changing their approach and all of this. Teachers don't understand what's going on. This is all going on. It's only because it's truthful. It's honest. There's no wrong answer. We're just talking and building with them. Yeah, I mean not just, but you know what I'm saying. I had a young man didn't want to do a piece of work after engaging so well. I said, "What's the problem?" He doesn't like his handwriting. I said, "Oh well, okay. Well, we could we'll talk on that because he's doing all this." So I say to the head of English. And his handwriting was bad. I said to the head of English, what's going on with his handwriting? What's going on? You know what I mean? My grandmother's handwriting is better than everybody's. The handwriting's just been going like this over time, right? Cool. But if you lot know that you've got a class full of children who can't write, how are they going to be marked by strangers on a test that they have to write on. So if they have to write on the test, surely part of your job is to make them write. Now, I'm not saying this to teachers, because teachers are having to deal with their curriculums, and what they're being told is important to get across to the young people. It's not easy, and then young people are coming in with different levels of personalities now.
Of course, yeah.
And you know, teachers are not there to raise your children, they're there to teach your children. Your children should be raised so they could be taught. You know, it's very, very, very hardcore what people are having to deal with cuts and all of these different things. But the setup. So this bright kid is going to write stuff. He's going to write in text language. It's going to be illegible. Someone in Mukul's going to mark his exam, not know that he's a cool kid or anything like that. You're not getting any of those type of points. It's just what's on the paper. He's going to get back his illegible, because he's not even going to get it's not going to get across. The person can't mark your work. They can't read it.
Yeah.
And then where does it go? And this is coming from so many different things, so many aspects of, so who's supposed to catch on to the fact that the kid can't write?
And it's such a simple question, and the fact that there's no answer is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because I'm thinking to myself, isn't that supposed to be? That's supposed to be detected from like the page one.
Not just detected. It's supposed to be at a certain age of Windrushers, right? All their handwriting's the same. There's a certain generation of Caribbean people.
Yeah.
All the handwriting's the same.
Yeah. Their handwriting's the same. Yeah.
My aunties all write the same. Like, it's crazy.
Because they studied handwriting in school. It was a part of being in school. It's a part of it. Like, you can't hand it in looking like that.
Yeah.
So somehow, that's not a part of anything anymore.
And you know,
now that's cool if
sad,
I do
man.
my exams on tablets.
Yeah, there you go.
Then cool. Make the adjustment. But if you don't make the adjustment, so what you'll see is you're dealing with like a prehistoric systems.
Oh, man.
Dealing with, listen, my generation were off the chain. We were all out there, you know, let alone these youth, they're born shaking doctors' hands like, thank you for that. And, you know, they're so advanced, these children, and they're coming into situations that are still trying to tell you that Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Yeah, that stinks.
It gets laughable. I used to be much more angry than this. It gets boring. It gets boring.
Well, do you know what? Sorry, I did, because I wanted to double back on something that you actually said. I wanted to double back on something that you said, because it's kind of tied to that, because you were saying that, like, at one point, you was like involved in every like thing that was just going on in the world in some way, and that, like, I can't remember how you put it, but it was like you got to a point when you realized that, you know what?
I saw people jumping out of the window in 9/11. I was in America. I
was there?
Yeah, I had flown back. Marsha and I had done a studio session the night before. We were up real late. Everyone left the session. We were having a great time. Thought we saw shooting stars and all sorts of madness. Went back home, fell asleep, slept very late, got up. Marsha and I had just moved. We didn't have a TV in the house. We walked out on the road. We said, why, everything seems really weird. Like, what's going on? We walk around the corner, go down to the studio. And the thing that really threw us off is there was a government building across the way that no matter what time of the day, that government building had cars in the car park, and there was no cars in the car park. And we're saying, what's going on? I laughed. I said, Marsha said, alien land, and we don't know. And they abducted us last night with the shooting star. And they've recreated everything, but they just don't know there's supposed to be people here. They've got it wrong, because they don't know you're supposed to have cars in the car park. And this is how we're
And you know, butterflies, this is cold, you know.
and then we saw our manager, and he was like, do you know what's happening anyway, 9/11? So we literally had to go into the studio and take this TV out of the green room, because we didn't have a TV at the time, and watching the TV, we had to call our parents. My point is, at that point, they were saying, you got to fold up, I don't know if you remember, fold the $20 bill like this, and you will see the Twin Towers.
Yes, 100%. I remember that yesterday.
The conspiracy was on, you know, and they got the video of this, and what time did it leave, and the book was upside down, and everyone's on, and I'm in. I've got all my info, I'm on. And then the news coverage was playing, and then you started to see people you thought it was debris, but you could see people jumping out of the windows of this building that is burning down, and I just remember that as my mother's child, my grandmother's child, my father's child, my grandfather's child, I wasn't raised to see carnage and be seeking susu. That I wasn't raised in that way. Something in me at that moment when I saw the people falling out of the window made me realize that if I run on ahead thinking I know what I don't know in this place here, there's something in my empathy is going to crack. There's something in my humanness is going to break if this doesn't stop me and make me say, something's just happened. Not, yo, look, can you see? If I can go to the $20 bill, there's something wrong with me. And I don't want that corruption to get me. I don't want something to be so wrong with me. It's like how I grew out of music videos. After a while, I want to know what's in the bottles. I want to know why the girls do what's going on, and then Puffy to the side, and then you see they were terrible videos to be watching. It was wrong. It was off. I thought so, but I don't want to constantly be figuring out at the end because I'm following a trend or because I'm too in or because it's you all got to go that way. Like I say, I don't worry about being over here sometimes because sometimes over here is where you got to be. So again, I hope you remember. I don't know nothing. We're just talking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're just holding the reasoning.
I'm just sharing some of the things that I hold myself to. More so than what people need to do. What I hold myself to, because I think that we've all got carried away. I think we all know better. If I'm obedient in a year, as a writer, you know, you there's an opportunity for a grand higher conversation, right? Yeah. And if I'm obedient enough, I get a good mantra towards the end of the year that might carry me into the next year.
Right.
And last year my mantra was, talk to people as if they know. Because far too often, I think, I know I have got carried away with the idea of putting people onto things. You know, like people don't know. The experience of racism is very much, you feel like you have to explain something to people that they know. I had a really terrible former relationship, and the biggest breakthrough was when I said, I'm going to stop explaining things to you like you don't know. You were there. In fact, how about I don't even know what you've done? You do. That was the release. In that moment of not filling my ego with my Sherlock Holmesness, you know, and like sometimes I don't know enough. So if I don't know enough, I need to release it so that what needs to be done gets done. So I'm just speaking of dealing with my own knowing betterness. When I moved from England to America as a 21-year-old girl and no longer had my brother down the road and my cousins down the road and my people down the road, everything was, I could still call, but it's going to be like 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
It's a different response time. I had to promise myself and my mother and my father that I'm not going to get myself into a situation where everything goes crazy and I find myself saying I knew better.
Yeah, I hear you.
I knew I shouldn't have been here today. I knew I shouldn't have gone. So I had to become very honest with my gut instincts. I had to listen. I had to become obedient. It meant I might miss some things because I might be wrong. I might be reading something wrong. This bad feeling, I might read it wrong. But I prefer to read a bad feeling wrong and miss something.
Yeah, and ignore it.
100, then ignore it.
Yeah. Be there, going, I knew I shouldn't be here. I can't afford that. I can't afford to be a girl in America in the music industry saying, damn, I shouldn't have gone to that Buffy party. Do you know what I mean? I needed to make sure that I was doing what I'm supposed to do, which means I might miss some things, which is okay, because you can't miss your own opportunities.
Wow, there's
so much in that edit. There's so much in that, bro.
So ultimately, okay, let's discuss a light element of the music business from your perspective.
You said
yeah.
a light element. I like that. Go ahead.
Did you find it difficult being in and around it when you're operating at a certain type of frequency?
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't find the music industry difficult at all. I found people difficult. The music industry is an innate object. It's a structure. It's a thing to be used for things. You know, who's operating it will say what comes out of it. You know, how people behave. So no. Funnily enough, sometimes my own people more so than anyone. You know, we have a habit of being afraid for ourselves. Too many of us, only 2 people can get through, only 1 can get through, kick all the rest of them down. That sounds like a great idea, but don't say God too loud. You got to be hipper over here. Don't look at that. You know, don't disagree. What you do. So there's too much of that type
Angel's advocate here, yeah? Could there be a small bit of grace given if you're looking at it from a place of these people reacting this way because they've been manipulated to think this way, or no?
If you need to give grace, I don't think grace is needed in correction. I think correction is grace, and I don't think we need to run away, and I don't think anyone needs blaming either. So I'm not saying these people, like I might be one of them people in that it's not as simple as that, you know, and I hope nothing is taken as me saying it is as simple as that. I just think that we are quicker to defend our bad behavior than we are to embrace correction. And I think that's going to be a problem for us moving forward, because you have to be self-correcting as a part of genius, success, anything like that. If you're not self-correcting, if you forget your coach telling you, if you don't do more than just what people see, people talk about those 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours isn't 10,000 hours of beautiful playing. That's bum notes, bus fingers, hurt nails, crap, mom asking you to shut up and turn it down. You know, that's not 10,000 hours of beauty. That's dedication and work. And that's with life as well. I think that my generation grew up with a lot of Oprah and Sally Jesse Raphael and all of that type of stuff. Ricky Lake. I think we were very self-prescribing people. I think that we were agendicized with psychology, and I don't think that we understand it well. We've learned enough to be able to excuse our bad behaviors. So everything has an excuse, and people think that opinions are truth. You know, and that there are many truths, and so all of it's all a little bit, you know, and feelings.
That's one thing I've never liked as well, when people say there's 2 sides to the story. Because I'm like, how can there be 2 sides to one thing that happened? Like, this is what happened.
If there's 2 sides to a story, what they're admitting is that the story isn't the truth.
That's what I believe from day one. If I was there and you were there and that happened, how can I give you an aversion of events but yours are completely different?
And it doesn't even mean that you're lying.
No,
that's true. It doesn't mean you're lying. It just means that it's your side of the story. Like, I can tell you about my life. I can tell you about my life. Right. Without talking about other people's lives, but I'm going to talk about other people by telling you about my life. Right. For me to tell you the truth about me, I may end up telling you the truth about other people without telling you their truths. Right. I'm just talking about myself. This is where a lot of things, you know, shame. Quite often, the people who hold the shame are the victims. The people who should be shamed aren't shamed because people are embarrassed of the truth. Cassie's a great example. He'll be comforted by the fact that there's no way that Cassie will ever tell the truth on herself. The reason why people salute her is because she managed to get past the embarrassment of telling the truth on herself in order to tell the truth. His comfort is that, and that's where you know that you're dealing with an abuser, is there's no way on earth you're going to tell people the truth because of what it's going to make people think of
you. Yes, because it's going to make you.
Not
it's going to make
what it's going to make 100% think of me, because 100%. You're going to hold my life for me.
Can I just say though, that's like, it's documented here. Yeah? So one of my pastimes, I watch a lot of court cases. I follow a lot of court cases. The reason why I do that is because of what you said, is that there's an interesting game happening the interesting game is that there can be a truth, but there also can be a bending of the truth, depending on the way that it's been presented, or
which isn't the truth. That's what law is about. It's the apostate. So the apostate has the truth, but knows how to manipulate it.
Right.
So no lie exists without a truth. You
Okay.
cannot lie without truth. Truth has to be present in order for a lie to exist.
Yeah.
It's just knowing that. How do you now decode the lie to find the truth?
There.
But you would have to be interested in truth in order to do that.
Yeah.
Because truth is reliable. It has certain things that are present within it, outside of what you prefer or what you like. You know, sometimes you understand you understand why you got lick is the truth of what's gone on, and you even understand that the consequence was good for you, whether you like it or not. You know, sometimes we throw the baby out with the bathwater. We grow up and we stop doing things that we didn't like when we were done when we were younger. But some of the things that we didn't like when we were younger were the things that we needed.
This is what's crazy though, because I think when we were younger, there's a lot less information. So, because there's a lot less of everything, discipline looked maybe, I guess, more appealing. Like, I had a lot of discipline through football and through karate. So that's how I learned a lot of my discipline. And my era of people growing up, there are things that we've done when we were younger that we still do today. Whereas today, it's oversaturated. There's so much information. I can only speak from what I see.
You're so right, but the only problem is for some people it's their normal. So if we live basing things on the past, it's also different. Like my mum was talking about South London. She was talking about Canterbury Road in Croydon having 2 cars on it, and knowing which families own the cars. You know, knowing which houses had TVs in them. You know, let alone telephones. You know, so that's her shift to can't get a parking space outside your yard and parking permits, and you can't visit people because there's so many cars. Like one household's got 3 cars. So those changes are constantly happening. But the reality is whomever's generation it is, it's their normal. So we have to find a way to communicate in their normal, because we've created this as their normal. And to hold them to a past is almost unfair.
I wouldn't hold them to the past. It'd be looking at the past and saying, okay, what elements out of that can I implement today? You can't take everything. Obviously, it's completely different. But there's reasons why I'm able to be disciplined. Like, there's loads of things that I do stupidly, but if I go, I ain't doing this for a week, I genuinely won't do it. And I even surprise myself. Whereas a lot of the people that I work with, especially in the creative field, that are a little bit younger, when I speak to them about discipline, they give me opinion. And that's why I always come here and say, I think people value opinions too much. And if the world's been here for centuries...
It's the Western way, man.
I just
Freedom of speech.
But also...
But
also, I think... I know we've gone into a different part here, but I also think that like the level of convenience that there is right now, or that we're made to feel that there is, makes people feel... makes people a lot less disciplined over themselves because of all of the convenience. And that's one of the reasons why. So see, for me, every period of time in the year, I always, like, I'll do a thing where for a month I won't eat no meat, or I won't eat no snacks, or I've done 6 weeks of veganism. And like, when I do these things, like anytime I ever tell someone I'm doing it, they always, like, they will ask me, like, what's the health benefit, or like, how do you feel, or whatever. And it's like, admittedly, I'm not even really doing it for the health benefit. I just want to be able to say, you know what, I really like that, but today I'm cutting this out for a little while because it feels good to be able to have some power and some discipline over my mind.
Well, one can say that discipline is freedom, you know, and freedom is something that we tend to seek and want to have, but we tend to want it to be given externally. When to give yourself freedom is to discipline yourself.
The way I agree with that is in so much different facets as well is so important. One thing I love here, for example, I've always loved from when I was younger, is knowing how I make my money. I've never liked knowing that someone's getting paid and they're paying me out of that. It's always made me very angry. Maybe because my dad sold drugs. So I saw this is money, he does that. So I've never understood the concept of working for someone. Not to say it's wrong or right. Yeah. So today that puts me in good stead, because it's like, now I understand the worth of doing that, because now I can, all of the things that happened bad in the past where people got paid and all of that and they were getting underpaid and so on and so forth, I see it now. Whereas a lot of people, they feel like the ignorance is bliss. They would prefer not to know that they're getting robbed. They prefer not to take those
ignorance
risks.
is bliss as long as you don't know you're ignorant. You know.
Okay.
No, right, 100%.
As long as you don't know you're ignorant.
Yeah, because if you are, that's 100%.
That's true.
Because sometimes people say
that's
ignorance is
almost
bliss, but they know, don't. But that's not bliss. That's not bliss.
That's not bliss, for sure.
Right.
Name is bliss, but that's not bliss.
Even what you said about that discipline, right? So, I mean, I've never done vegan because Hitler was a vegan, and I just don't go there.
Okay, fair enough.
But
That's my new thing.
but
Hitler was a vegan.
I was vegetarian for like 7 years, and then kind of pescatarian for a couple of years, and then I went to South Africa one day and ordered some oxtail. Didn't understand where that came from. But in Joburg, we got Tandiswa. But the point is this.
I hear it though.
What was great was the discipline. And a lot of things. I mean, for sure, detox and health benefits and all of that. But the point was, we're in such a crazy situation. Really, our problem is with the manufacturing of food. Again, the corruption. There's nothing wrong with food. Food is a blessing. All you have to do is ask a starving person to understand how there's nothing wrong with food. If you're in a situation with food where you can have dietary expectations, you're in an even better situation. You know, I don't eat pork, I don't eat shellfish. I can choose. I'm in brown bear territory. I've got options, right? That's a blessing, right? To be overweight is a blessing. To be able to push the weight is a blessing, right? We have to remember these things. There's nothing wrong with the food. There's a problem with the corporations and the psychopathy that is providing sickness to people. So if we...
What does psychopathy mean?
It's the psychosis. It's when, you know, the psychopathy is the minds when they break. You've got the schizophrenic, you have the narcissist. There's so many different terminologies and compartments that you could put them in, but they're all to do with the psychosis of people, how our minds operate. So if you're somebody who operates we can't even get into these spaces. You know, you run a company that gives bread to your nation. I mean, it's crazy to even think about that size of a monopoly of a country, of a company. But you're that person, and you also know that this bread isn't good for everybody. I mean, you're dealing with psychopathy on another level because you're dealing with psychosis. You're dealing with serial killers, really, that are running they're putting together your paracetamol and your bread and your milk and because they know that there are things that gets called back, but there was lead in it. We knew it was just cheaper to make it that way, or it was just such and such, or we also sell the cure to this disease, so we give you the disease because we sell the. So there's so many crazy perspectives in certain people who are in position. You said the music industry. Dread, if you put a bag of really like creative marketing you did it all, it's just a good way to market music to people. That's all it is. But you add in there, I think that we can privatize some prisons, and if we get all these guys to listen to this music and ultimately it permeates and it's trading places, how much for $1? Let's see if we can mess everything up. If you've got that type of psychopathy,
that's scary, bro. Playing
with things. That's why I'm saying no solace without the Most High. Because what are you gonna do about that? What are you gonna do about that? If you have nowhere to submit, pray, be reinforced or realigned, because if we're getting into this degree of individualism, so you're going up against that. So you're gonna change that, or a couple of yous are going to do a march and change that. No, so if that's the situation that we're in, then you have to, I'm paraphrasing so badly today, every scripture I'm saying, I think, but give me the insight to change the things I can and to, leave the things I can't, to know the difference between the two. So if you're trying to change things that you can't change, but you're not changing the things you can change, that, when people want to talk about mental health crises that we're dealing with, that repetitively is a challenge.
Isn't it difficult though sometimes because I totally agree with you, but sometimes there's been times in my life where I can't even go within to change myself because there's a demand that needs to be dealt with right now, and maybe I'm not even in the best position to deal with the demand, but due to my life and the circumstances, I have no choice but to deal with that demand. And then I think if that's what I'm going through at a level which is, once I've dealt with it, life's cool, there's going to be an interpretation of that which is a lot more harsh.
Absolutely.
And it's like, what do I tell to that person that?
But one can say that those who deal with harder things are able to cope with more.
Yeah, for real.
Sometimes when you look, it's third world problems. It's the lighter life gets, the more problems you have. One could even say while you're surviving, it's hard to deal with your issues. It's once you've survived that you deal with your past. A lot of PTSD and everything, that comes when you're safe.
Yeah, for real.
It's when you're safe. It's when everything's okay. That's when the breakdown happens. There are so many people, they can work. It's when you stop them from working. That's when they break down. They need something. There has to be a drive. There has to be a push. So the romanticizing. If we don't recognize ourselves, and I'm speaking for descendants of the enslaved generation, right? If we don't see ourselves as chosen, miraculous, graceful to still be here and don't have that self-projection, then it's going to be very difficult to navigate, because you're going to let somebody tell you where you are. Mm-hmm. It's going to put you behind where you are, even while at the same time they're admiring who you are. And then it all becomes confusing because your identity you're disconnected from. And if you're disconnected from that, it's very difficult to navigate here, because it's constantly growing and there's someone else's issue to come. As Windrushers, you know, Black History Month comes around and we're like, hold on a second, where are we? The story is shifting because there are so many black stories in Britain now. And they've all benefited greatly off of the migration of the Windrush, hence the reason we stand so tall about it, because we're like, you guys really can't imagine what this place was like before we dealt with it, for everybody. But progression, one could say we're not all supposed to be in ends. Like, why are you still living in South? You should be in South End, go down to Cornwall. Why aren't you living in the country now? You don't have to live in the migration spots anymore.
Right.
Why won't you? Why? Because we've been told it's not ours.
You're right.
No, I don't know. That's not the reason why I go. I'll give you real. And I love everyone on planet Earth. But if I go outside and it just looks like milk, I have to step back in. I need chocolate somewhere.
Yeah, but it's not going to go there unless we go there, is the point.
I'll meet you there.
Yeah. But I think also
I'm an army brat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been the only black in the village a lot. My family's been the only black in the village a lot. I don't really business either way, personally.
Yeah.
With the everybody, because the corruption's there anyway. Sometimes my heart gets more broken over brown corruption than it does
I hear
white
you.
corruption.
I
You
hear
know what I
you.
mean? So
I
corruption
hear you.
is corruption. This idea that there's some like loving elite that's gonna go, to us, ain't gonna happen. It's not the situation. That's again.
Would you like some water, by the way?
I really would.
We are the worst. Yes.
Listen.
Worst host.
I'm not gonna be the black that lets it down, you know.
We've been conversing.
Your heart is broken by him. If it was for real, see that hurt more.
We've been conversing. It's not a problem whatsoever. Thank you so much, my darling. Thank you.
No, you're right though. Wait, sit down.
But I suppose, listen, I am attempting to say, I just, as an artist, I believe I stand on the shoulders gratefully of the revolutionaries. I think they did an exquisite job. They broke it wide open, right? I don't think that's what I am here to do. I'm not called to do that. I'm a solutionary. I'm the next chapter of that. We're here for the solutions and for the fix. We're here for the heal, you know? So I quite often say I'm not in the music business, I'm in the healing business. That's where my studies are. I'm a mixed medium artist and I've been blessed to work with music and I'm very happy with that and continue to do so. New single dropping in a week, but we'll get to that.
Right, we'll get to
that,
yeah.
right? But really and truly, this works is a bigger works, you know? The works that I'm doing on myself really and truly is because I want to see my grandma again, you know what I'm saying? That's my work. My work is how do I get aligned on this thing? Because this can't be it, man. This can't be it. If man like Jimmy Savile could get buried and that's it and he doesn't go inside, it's not it. It's
yeah, no, I hear that. I do hear that.
You don't get away with things. If we're operating based on getting away with things and outsmarting police and government and that's just a low vibration of life to be existing on.
I've always battled with that aspect of it just a little bit as well, because sometimes I'm kind of being like, the cynic in me is a little bit like, right, some people have got to just carry on with a whole load of
They can't
fuckery,
get away.
and then they just die.
They can't get
Do you know
away.
what? They don't ever get away with it though, because there's people in my end, yeah, that are horrible guys, bro, and then their sons just adopt the same problems as them.
To a degree, but I'm not even putting somebody else's on them, because that's still him getting away. I am saying, I'm in my big old 46 years of age, I'm saying you don't get away with it. I'm saying that to every slave owner. I'm saying it to every descendant of a slave owner. I'm saying it to everyone who's never been caught for abuse, pedophilia. I'm saying it to every person who got away with the murder and the... You don't get away.
But then watch the opposite now. My dad was such a great community man. Maybe half the things he didn't benefit from, I benefit from.
Oh, for sure.
Do you know where I'm coming from?
I'm not taking away from that, but I'm still saying
you're not gonna get...
as much as your dad's blessings for sure are on you, his grandchildren. I know I've got blessings on my head from ancestors. I don't know who they look like.
I hear you.
Do you know what?
But then equally, I can tell you some of the bad things that my dad done and he didn't clear up. It's a mess for me today, and I say to him, and I think to myself, he's looking at it and thinking, I actually didn't get away with it.
There's no getting away with anything.
There's no getting away. I just don't think.
Listen, I remember being younger. I got away with a lie, right? I got away with a lie. I told everyone in my school over time. It made the racism work for me, right? I moved to London when I was like 6 going on 7. They didn't know me well enough. Big tunes are coming out. And I let them believe that Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown, Queen Latifah, and LL Cool J were my cousins.
I would have done the same.
I'm not gonna lie.
Suggestive.
I told them in primary school.
You know, it's kind of suggestive.
Hey, I told them in primary school that Michael Jackson was my cousin as well. I can't believe I came with that foolishness.
It's suggestive.
That one's not even
No,
ready.
you
I
never
know.
know.
That was crazy.
You never know. You just
never know.
You need to do the work. So, and granted, Queen Latifah called my mum auntie on the phone once, and
close.
and
Yeah,
and
it's close.
we got there. We were all on first name terms.
Right,
You know
family.
So I was projected.
Family.
You know what I'm saying? However, that being said,
You foresaw the future.
while I was still in that school, one day, one of my poor believers, God bless them, came up to me and was like, "Are you going to the wedding?" And I was like,
Go to
wait,
oh,
going to the wedding. So Bobby Brown was marrying Whitney Houston.
Oh.
This poor sheep, God bless them, had believed what I'd said at some canteen, something so hard that separately they've come back to, you going to the...
So what, did you try calling sick in school and...
No. I'm far more, you seen that girl on that thing, right?
Yes, too sharp.
I was like...
Man United jersey.
Families aren't too happy about it, so no, we're not going. My side of the family is not too pleased
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
wedding.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we're into a bit of a standoff.
Yeah.
Right? Layers. But I tell you what I learned.
Layers.
I tell you what I learned at what, 9?
Yeah.
This is fucking hard.
Yeah. Because that's got to go into a next one and then the next one.
I've got to change. That's got to become my truth.
Okay.
Oh, you got to shape the lie so it becomes a reality.
That's got to become my truth. Now my family are involved. We're not going because we ain't talking to Whitney. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
Because we're not talking
Your brother can't even go to your house because the moment she says to your mum, like, you know the Whitney Houston thing's
so
not that deep.
funny.
No one just...
Gotta keep them off.
It's
Listen,
mad.
when we were in class, right? Right, they brought the TV in for us to watch. This is in the library. This is back in the day, school. One big old TV they used to draw in. We watched the thing about bullying. Right? I'm a creative kid. Walking home with my cousin, I decided to tell him that I was being bullied. But it's just more so to do with the show. It was the show.
You can't just make stuff up, man.
Well, I wasn't making it up.
What do you mean
what
bullied?
it was? It was like I was
Doing
script
the court
writing.
thing.
He just didn't know.
Yeah.
I was in creative mode. I was pitching a script.
No, that's my new thing now. I'm script writing.
Script writing, you know.
By the time we got home, everything was calm. Me and Richie, we got home. The following day, come to find out, Richard told Auntie Lorna's told my mum's told my brother. My brother's 7 years older than me, right? I'm in primary school. I go junior school. My friends in junior school, my brother's like a CID, them man, they're right? So I'm in school, everything's fine. Natalie's brother's here, oh my God, his brother's here. I like come round and they're at my front gate. My brother and his friends, who I love, all of them. And they look a little bit upset. In fact, if I remember correctly, they all have one pin roll with the sock up, which was War Talk. This is 80s.
Okay.
There's a diamond sock up. There's a diamond sock up over the roll. You know, so I'm looking and it's all coming down on me. I know what's happened. Richard, you've told Auntie. Auntie's told my mum. So they think this is serious. So I had to diffuse it. Now I did continue. I was script writing.
What do you mean you continue? This is crazy.
I had to diffuse it.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy that was bullying?
Now what I had done is my brethren, George Stephanopoulos, he had a brother named Styles. I thought the name worked with bullying. I don't know. I felt that Styles,
so you made up Styles
sounded like that type of guy. The name, I took his name. This is how I understand. I'll get right. Hold that. Right.
Hold that.
Script writing. I took his name. And I said, you know what, Styles isn't in today. Oh, no, it's not George. George is in my year. It's his older brother. Styles isn't in, but George spoke to Styles and everything seems all right. It's a bit of an old story I told her. You know, I can't believe, Marky, everything's cool. It's all right, leave it. Again, you don't get away with it. When you play these games.
Man say, where's him there?
So you learn these things, again, 9. So as an author, I learned these things. This is also the same age where I used to, it's a little bit of plagiarism, but I think it's okay. If Charlton Heston could play Moses, I could rewrite a couple of shows.
Right then.
Yeah, and put black people in them. So my Land Before Time had Yvonne and Delroy. Yeah?
Delroy was with dinosaurs.
Yes.
Boy and a dog, and I see the T-Rex.
I used to go in with my mum, summer holidays, Lambeth, type up my thing.
Yeah.
Used to sell these works at school.
Right.
Little bit of plagiarism.
Yeah.
Teenage Wolf. Yeah.
Wolf.
the Duck.
Yeah.
My story, when the guy becomes a teenager, he turns into a duck. So what I'm saying is, this is how young creativity works, right? You build it up. But my point is, you start to learn real early. You can't teeth people's stories. That's not very realistic. Boom, boom, boom. You got to remember, your brother almost beat up the poor boy and he hasn't done
it. Could you imagine?
You start to learn consequences.
Right.
I'm getting you early. These are 9-year-old and 8-year-old things I'm giving you. Do you know what I mean? Let alone getting to school. I'm a teller of jokes. I tell jokes, man. I got a brethren. I got such a good friend. She's a good friend to me, you know, but I've got a joke. It's a good joke. She has a bit of an older challenge. We're young. I have a good joke. Do I tell the joke? Do I not tell the joke?
You tell the joke.
She left the bus. Now I'm going to tell the joke. It's not a hard joke. It's not a disrespectful. It's actually a little bit more intricate than that, you know. It's a funny joke. I was just saying it's hard for her to be able to, because the water evaporates, but it gets to her in the shower. This is a scientific joke, right? About
you're dropping scientific
jokes
on the bus.
I had this in my mind, and you know what? Straight up, I told the joke, and my friend was downstairs on the bus, yeah, and she was such a good friend. She didn't even hold me to it. She let me off. I apologized hard. I was embarrassed. I apologized. But you know what? You see that brethren that I told that joke on? She's the person who, if I wasn't there and someone said something about me, she'd probably lick them. One time. She was a good friend. I learned something that day. Wasn't worth it, man. Didn't like myself. The joke was... It was a good joke.
But it wasn't.
Oh, I felt sick.
Yeah, I hear it.
It's why I'm telling you the story to this day. I was a youth, but I had to learn from that, man.
100%.
Like everyone on the bus laughed. It was a great joke.
That's decision making though, because today that joke made, if it hits the gram and there's 500,000, they don't even see that feeling. They push it away.
Some.
Yeah,
yes,
but
sure.
But it's the
this
person.
is what we're dealing with in life. This is what these are the constant battles. Like, half of the time when people have maybe got one over me, the reason they're going to get one over me is because I'm working on myself. I'm selfish like that. I wasn't thinking of you. It's bad, I know.
Yeah.
Admittedly.
You can have it.
No,
I don't
seriously,
care.
admittedly,
Yeah.
I wasn't. I almost understand how that can chip. I know I must have run some of the girls in school crazy with how much I was me. You know what I mean? I get it. I understand it. I can respect it. I even empathize with it. I say all of that to say we're responsible. You don't get away with anything. You really don't. Maybe you can turn crazy enough that you don't have a conscience and your empathy shots, but that's still not getting away with nothing because you're now a walking zombie.
100%.
Yeah, for real, now you're crazy.
So what are you saying? Are you easy to love? All right then. Yeah. For the audio listeners, it was a ring.
Come on.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm easy to love. I don't know. I'm loved by many. My family, that's my squadded deep, hard. I've got a lot of kids in my family. I claim all of them. You know, my nieces and nephews, and they're mine. Then there's the family. Then there's the cousins. They're mine. I'm loved so much. I could walk away from things that people would give their left arm for because I'm not running. You know, I'm loved. So I'm not seeking love in that way. Having a partnership, being married and as I am, my partner and I sharing in the world that we share in, I mean, sharing the load, I can't even describe how much of a blessing that is as a self-employed, creative, individual, entrepreneurial person. To unify that is beyond words, because there's a lot of wars and battles and things that one needs to do, and it's always easier when you can at some point be like, all right, back to back.
Yeah.
That's gangster.
Clean the room.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? That's really hard to do by yourself. It's hard to. It's doable, but it's hard to do.
But yeah,
It's long, bro.
So, and then I'm sure I rub a lot of people up the wrong way as well, which I don't mind. Which I don't mind. I don't try to rub people up the wrong way. I don't try to. I do try to lead best foot forward. I love to see people happy and laughing. So, but I can imagine that I could really over talk and get on people's definitely talk about God too much, but I really don't mind offending people not liking that, like, for sure.